In this episode of the Marketing Rundown podcast, Drew and Christian discuss luck in marketing and how it can affect your business. Enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to the Marketing Rundown podcast for episode number 7, brought to you by the Social Bullpen. I'm Christian and this is Drew, and we're here to discuss luck. Since March is the month of luck, with St. Patty's Day coming up on March the 17th, I believe. And Drew, do you think there's luck in marketing?
I definitely think that there's luck in marketing. There's a lot of times when you can be very meticulous and plan things out, and you prepare and you try to execute the strategy, and sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. But then there's other times when you kind of just go all in on one thing without any sort of plan or preparation, and it just kind of takes off without any intention or like details that you've prepared or anything like that. So I definitely think luck plays a big factor in certain marketing campaigns.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, you could spend so much time doing one thing and having the data, having the creative laid out, having, a 4-month plan, optimized everything. And then the opposite side of luck, I guess, would be, what's unlucky, I guess would be the word for it. But I mean, imagine if you were creating a campaign that would run, I guess, in March or February, or a summer campaign of 2020, and in your bigger company, your budget's set, everything's set, and then COVID happens, and then you have to plan for that. I mean, that's the thing about marketing. You have no control over what your consumer does. You have no control over what the environment does. It's really a free-for-all. It's just who plans the best, who has the best processes set up to handle the lucky moments or the unlucky moments, and really who can be the most agile in those situations. And not everything's a crisis. Not everything's going to be business changing and business shattering or huge business growth opportunities. And sometimes those are the luckiest moments, where it's just a serendipitous moment. Kind of, we're going to talk about in some of our examples, but I guess we should talk about luck. Like, what do you think luck is? Just not from a marketing perspective, but luck in general.
I think to me, it would be more of like almost kind of running into something that you didn't expect. There's good luck and there's unluck, obviously.
Yeah.
There's unluck.
I'm looking up for the opposite of luck.
I don't know what the proper phrasing is, but there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I'm lucky. Oh, I'm just unlucky. My dad is one of those people that says he's just unlucky, but in reality, he's not patient, I don't think.
Yeah. Calamity, disaster, and catastrophe are 3 words that are the opposite of luck. So I'm going to be using the word calamity from now on.
Hashtag antonyms. But yeah, to me, luck is something that you don't plan for, and typically something that happens to you that's unexpected, whether it's good or bad. And as much as you try to go in with the mindset of trying to be lucky or trying to not be unlucky, it doesn't really play out that way. It's just kind of the cards you get drawn, I guess.
Yeah, that's from my experience with thinking I've been lucky. It's stuff that's happened. It's either preparation or relationships I've built, or it doesn't just come out of thin air. Let's just say that. I've knowingly or unknowingly prepared for a moment, I guess you'd say, and then I was ready for the moment. That would be the way I look at it. I mean, I'd have to look back and think about my life, but I don't think there's been any down to the core luck moments of my life that are just the traditional sense of luck. I mean, I guess it's the preparation meets opportunity. That's what that the formula for luck.
I'm sure you've heard the Gary Player quote that the harder he works, the luckier he gets.
Oh yeah. I think yes. That can be applied to marketing and any type of business and just life in general. Because if you base your whole existence on luck in your professional career and business on luck, you're not going to be ready, and you're never going to be lucky. because
Right.
you're never going to build the framework to have success after you've had that lucky moment.
Right. And it's not something that you can actively chase. It's just something that happens through the work that you've put in or the preparation that you've done. It's not just going to happen randomly. There's something that you've done that has led you into being lucky.
Yeah. I mean, I know we don't try to talk about athletics a whole lot. I know we want to talk about marketing, but I mean, just from our careers as athletes, I mean, I know because I've seen you work and I know I've seen you play, and obviously I've seen myself work and play. We didn't get to where we were because of luck.
Mm.
I mean, just there's no way we would have played Division I college baseball if we didn't work. We didn't meet the right people. We didn't play in the right tournaments. We didn't get seen by the right people. Now, it might be happenstance that the right person talked to the right person at some moment, but if you weren't a good person and a good player, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
It wouldn't matter if those two people were in a room.
Right. And to me, that's kind of goes back to the sacrifices that you make for the things that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And for spring break coming up in March, I don't think I've been on a spring break since I was like 10. And
Gosh, yeah.
I mean, it's been forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just due to the fact that I chose to play the certain sport that I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sacrificing also has to do with a little bit of luck, because I guess it's kind of like karma. If you put out what you want to get, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get to
yeah. I know what you're saying.
Soccer skis.
What do you think of Tottenham?
Yeah. But it's just the luck of things comes from the preparation that you put in, the hard work that you're putting into something, and it may be in 2 days that you become lucky, or it may be 25 years. There's not a certain time frame for when this happens.
Yeah. Because there's so many parallels you can draw from. That's why I love athletics, because you can draw so much from sport and put it into life, and then put it into business. There's so many parallels, because everything's a metaphor for business and vice versa for athletics. I mean, just for example, so say like a marketing campaign's an at bat or a pitch. Let's for you, because I think a pitching outing, a start, is more equivalent to a marketing campaign, because an at bat's more like the smaller scale. So let's say this. Obviously, you've got to a position where you are getting a starting spot. You do a scouting report. You read the scouting report. You prepare for every batter in the lineup. You prepare for basically every batter who could come off the bench. You prepare for situations. You hone in on your specific crafts. What that would be your tactics. You'd hone in on your sinker. You'd hone in on your fastball. You'd create a game plan for what you're going to do with those specific pitches, knowing you have all these pitches in your arsenal, but you can't throw the same pitches to the same person. And then you plan out how many pitches you're going to throw relatively over, a 7 to hopefully 9 inning outing. Same thing with a marketing campaign. I mean, you don't just launch a website. You do research. You test the research. You optimize. Then you go in, have a meeting with probably a superior, your creative director, and then maybe a marketing manager. Same thing with a pitching coach and your head coach. You're talking about, okay, how do we want to launch this? Who are we trying to reach? How are we going to target them? How are we going to attack them? How are we going to get them to come to our website? And then once you launch that, everything's optimized for the users coming to your website. Same thing with, whenever you're pitching, whenever you're in the game, things are going to happen that are not foreseen. Now, they could be lucky moments. They could be unlucky moments. Same thing with a marketing campaign. One link might be broken. Now, how quickly can you adapt and fix that? And that comes with this processes. It's like, are your processes good? Is the right person, does the right person know that they need to fix this if it happens? Is there a hierarchy set up. Is there, I'm not a chain of command, but some type of system put in place to go over and check this work again. I mean, there's so many parallels drawn to it. So yeah, you might have a successful campaign, but there's not going to be luck involved per se. It's all about the preparation. So that's my thoughts on the definition of luck. I guess we should get into some examples, unless you have anything else.
That's a good example, though. I mean, for people who understand baseball and are in a business space, then they will be able to kind of relate to that, I think. And I think I like the at-bat as an example. Yeah.
I mean, from a hitter's perspective, an at-bat's more it'd be like a social post in a campaign. It's it's one at-bat, one post per your campaign. So like say campaigns 4 at-bats per game.
Right.
Every at-bat you're learning something new about the pitcher or about the defensive situations, or I mean situationally. I mean different innings, different runners on base. Not we can get too granular with baseball, but there's different times to do different things. Same thing as a social media campaign. Different times to do different things. But if you're not prepared if you don't know how to get a runner over with less than 2 outs, you're not going to be able. If you haven't practiced that, you're not going to be able to get them over. Same thing with the social. If you can't, in one of our examples is Oreo. If something happens in culture that is not planned for, that nobody knows is going to happen, but if you don't have the agility and just the creativity to post in the moment, and it didn't just happen. It's probably been practiced. It's probably part of their ethos as a company, and it's their tone and voice. If they're not ready for that moment, they're not going to. We'll talk about it, but they're not going to have as much success as they did. But I guess we can go into that right now. So Oreo's dunk in the dark. That was a tweet during the 2013 Super Bowl. Whenever there was a blackout, and Oreo tweeted a simple image of an Oreo cookie with the caption, "You can still dunk in the dark," and I'll throw it up in post right now. So you're seeing this tweet. The tweet went viral and became one of the most talked about moments of the game, showcasing Oreo's agility and wit. So I don't remember the Super Bowl of 2013, but no. I do remember this tweet. And like I said, you can't. Oreo didn't plan for the Super Bowl to go have a blackout, but they capitalized on it in moments. And just think how many. I mean, I'm not going to say that all the world's watching this, but corporate America and capitalist countries, most of them probably are tuning into this, especially the advertisements. And how many other companies could have done this? And Oreo is the one to capitalize because, like I said, they probably built up the processes. They've probably got the right people who are monitoring this. They might even be planning for events like this. Like, what can we do quickly to garner attention? And I mean, and it fits their brand of what an Oreo is. It's a dark, was it cookie, I guess? Yeah. It's a dark cookie. But I mean, taking the chance. And I think it's knowing who they are and not really caring what the outcome. I mean, you can't care what the outcome is. It's kind of what we talked about in the imposter syndrome episode, but that's where I think luck comes in, is just taking the chance and having everything set up. Because it was a serendipitous moment. It's another word I came across that I really like whenever I was researching this. But it was a serendipitous moment that happened, and they just took advantage of it. So, yeah, it was a lucky moment, but I'm not in Oreo's team. But I don't think that it just happened like that. I don't think that, Sarah is, sitting, having a couple of drinks, watching Super Bowl, and it's like, oh, let's post this picture. This is cool. Right. I think it's been planned, not planned as in like there's an Oreo ready to be posted, but I think they've seen historical moments like this and had somebody on their team worried about this moment, and whatever came up, like a rapid action force team, and they're ready for it. It kind of makes you
curious as to whether they actually have a team sitting there watching, kind of how Barstool watches their sporting events that they bet on. If they've got a team that's like set up to, you5 got to watch the Super Bowl, you five are going to control our social media accounts, and then the five people that are sitting over here are going to tell you like what's happening, or just kind of curious on what that would look like. But
I would definitely think they would, especially, I mean, I'm sure they bought advertisement too. I'm sure. I don't know who the parent company is of Oreo, but
Nabisco.
Nabisco, hey, coming with the knowledge. But I'm sure they would have some type of advertising. So they're definitely watching, and they're probably engaging. And this was like, I don't say peak Twitter, but it was kind of when Twitter was newer and is more organic. And I definitely think they had, all their focus was probably on the Super Bowl and engaging with people and being part of the conversation. And that's something that I think has grown and has never left. It's just you always want to be a part of the conversation,
Right.
as long as you can relate it back to your business and what your offers and services are.
I think that's a perfect example of it. They made something that was happening relatable to what they are trying to promote with their business, and I think that's, slam dunk.
It's a slam. It's a dunk in the dark. I mean, yeah, that's really cool. Another one, a lot of them are food. It's very interesting. Coke's Share a Coke campaign. I remember this. I remember the campaign specifically. Obviously, they still do it, I believe. They still have the Cokes.
I think so.
But the campaign launched in Australia in 2011. It's kind of like a test market. They didn't want to. They usually don't launch it directly in the United States, obviously. But it replaced the Coke logo on the bottle with popular first names. Campaign was a huge success, generating 7% increase in sales and 870% increase in social media mentions. Let me rephrase that, or restate that. 870% in social media mentions. The campaign was lucky in that it tapped into the growing trend of personalization and social sharing. So, you want to talk about this since I talked about the last one?
So when we came up with this example, it made me think of one thing, and it was a book that I know that you've read, because this is going to be weird that I remember this, but you read it on a bus trip somewhere, and it was Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
And I have also read it since then. And the one thing that struck me about this was he talks about how people value their first name so much, and by putting someone's first name on something and then being able to purchase it, because them being able to purchase it was such a big deal, because even if they themselves didn't personalize that, they feel like Coke personalized that for them. And then on the other hand, someone who has a name that's spelled differently from a traditional spelling maybe felt left out, and that also inclined them to post about it on social media, like, hey, Coke, I'm being left out. And so I think that they did a good job, probably unintentionally, to target both of those individuals, the ones that have the traditional spellings and they've got the name on the tag or whatever, and then you've got the people who feel not included, who, even though it's a negative thing to complain about something, they're still posting it. And so even if somebody says that it's negative, they're still going to be like, oh, I wonder if they've got my name. And they're going to go to the store and they're going to get their Coca-Cola and they're going to drink it. And I just think I think it was for sure unintentional, but I think the idea itself was a great idea from the Dale Carnegie fact.
Yeah. I mean, 100% agree. It's like, especially in 2011, I mean, this is infant age of social media. So, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Social media has changed everything: marketing, interactions, our social lives.
Sure.
So 2011, it's baby social media, but people started sharing more, started getting more engaged. And this is one of the first trends that I remember popping off. Is like, now you see it is like social sharing is the theory of social proof all the time, is, going to a local restaurant or a bar and then posting there and tagging, and you're just saying like, oh, I've been here. It has nothing really to do about the restaurant, but I mean, I do it because, I mean, if I go to a cool place, I'm just going to take a picture and say like, oh, I've been here, because I mean, it's social proof. It's a theory.
Right.
It's real. But yeah, I mean, they obviously didn't know that. I don't know how. They probably could have predicted it. Kind of goes back to the Oreo thing. they've probably researched this and has a team around this, but really you have no control once your product's out there. And it just worked. And it was just I don't want to say lucky break, because it wasn't luck, because they put a lot of work into this, but I think to the success it happened, it was luck. Because you can't, especially that age of social media, they could not predict the trend that was happening, because it is a trend. And they couldn't have predicted the amount of social sharing they were going to get. And the Dale Carnegie thing is very true, because if they've read that, they probably know the importance of first names. But putting it on a bottle, a Coke, and in Australia too, because it's not a big country, and it's like America's cousin, so it's it's like Americanized, so it's got the same values and social values, so representative. But how could they have predicted how much social sharing there was that happened? They couldn't.
Right.
And this is a sidebar on name spelling too. When I was researching this, I didn't look too much into it. I don't know if it's a campaign or not, but Facebook, Starbucks. If I should have looked at this more. So don't quote me, but I think there was some part of Starbucks, or one Starbucks, or they ran a little small campaign where they misspelled people's names out of so many, and that generates more social shares because people want to post about their name being spelled misspelled. So like if you spelled Riley, R-Y, there's many. That's a terrible. There's a bunch of ways. Drew. Let's say Drew. Most people spell their name D-R-E. Yeah, D-R-E-W. But if they spelled your name D-R-U-E, like Drew Holiday. No, Drew Holiday is spelled with a J.
J-R-U-E.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. I got a coffee the other day, and that's how they spelled it.
Yeah. So let's say they do that, and then there's a certain portion of the population who will take a picture of that and be like, "Oh my gosh, Starbucks spelled my name wrong." It's just another. That's just another. Let's say 300 people will look at your story. It's 300 more views they got for free.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not luck. It's not luck. They prepared.
I'm thinking about, they're having a brainstorm session in Atlanta with Coca-Cola with all these execs, and somebody's like, "Let's put their name on a bottle and let's see how it goes."
Yeah,
and then,
imagine like that person who's like some intern, and then I don't know when it happened, but it was before we were born, I think, or it might have been when we were young, when they changed the flavor to New Coke.
Yeah.
I think it was the 80s. It's like, it's probably some scientist who was like the smartest person in the building, and then terrible mistake. But if you put John on a red bottle and ship it to Australia down under, everybody goes crazy.
And like their competitors, Pepsi's sitting there and it's like, dang, we could have done that. Like,
yeah, they got Kylie Jenner to go give a Coke or Pepsi to a cop.
What?
Have you not seen that? That's one of the biggest marketing. We need to do a marketing fails. I don't know when it was, but it was basically an end racism campaign, I think. And it was like there was a riot, but it was shot. It wasn't dramatic at all. It was shot in a way that was very energetic and it was very colorful. But Kylie, one of the Jenners, I don't know which one. I think it was Kylie. She comes strutting through the crowd of protesters and then goes up to this wall of policemen and hands them a Pepsi. And then they all start dancing together. And I forgot what the tagline was, but it did not work well.
I was say that's a bit odd.
And I think this was peak. Not peak because it's still going on. I think this was right after the Ferguson riots in 2013. And so we're not going to get into it right now because we want to do marketing fails, but they just didn't know the situation. I mean, on both sides, I don't think Pepsi is going to solve any issues or not to get, and we're not going to get political on this, but it's not going to bridge the gap between anybody with giving somebody a Pepsi.
Campaign that's going to do that for anybody.
No.
Swing at that is probably not the right choice either.
No.
They should be going with names on the bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. At least that's a personal touch.
Yeah.
So another one we could talk about. Do you want to talk about Dollar Shave or Old Spice next?
Let's go Old Spice because that one cracks me up.
Okay.
Can we take this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So in 2010, this started, and the campaign is called "The Man Your Man Could Smell Like." And so they tried to pick this model who was chiseled. You can tell he works out, has abs, very muscular. And they essentially have treated this guy as the face of their brand and what women want men to smell like, but they're also using what women want men to look like too.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this is something that's really cool because they still run these.
Mm-hmm.
What is the like fictional animal? It's like half man, half horse.
A centaur.
Yeah, they made him a centaur in one of them, and that absolutely cracked me up. And now when there's an Old Spice, like I'll at least like check to see what it is because they come out with new ones all the time. And so this guy, I think, for him, got pretty lucky because he's basically the face of Old Spice right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that little whistle jingle at the end of their campaigns, and he's got the Old Spice model. Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, Old Spice got lucky with this because it's obviously a popular ad. I think most people would know what this is, but this guy also got lucky too because doing commercials as an actor, he's not a movie star by any means. It's a little different if George Clooney's doing it, but this guy, you probably have no idea who he is unless he did this Old Spice commercial. So he's probably saved life by advertising deodorant as a centaur.
And it's not lucky because he worked out. He looked good. He probably networked. He auditioned. He honed his acting craft, and he got the lucky break, I guess you say. But yeah, for the ad though, they ran it during the Super Bowl and released it during the Super Bowl. Then this is a lot of the lucky moments are happening in the early tens. That's weird to say. Early tens, and I guess it's just the early stages of social media because it's brand new. But it generated so much talk and so much content. And this was back when bloggers there's still bloggers around, but this was like the blogging age. This is before vlogs and, Instagram bloggers. But bloggers and then certain celebrities loved it and they talked about it. And what's better than word of mouth marketing? There's nothing. So, so they had this great advertisement that's, nailed down, weird, eclectic, and just entertaining. They launched it in the biggest advertising day in 365 days a year. And it was just lucky enough to happen in a moment where social media was still new, but all eyes were on the Super Bowl. So this is kind of what episode did we talk about Super Bowl not being great for advertisement? But
like 5, 6 maybe.
Yeah. But this is one of those that just happened. Like you can't plan for this level of success. That's why it's luck. But this is I think this is more of the lucky moment out of any of the ones we're going to talk about because it's a good commercial. It's very entertaining, but they could not have planned to have, the bloggers, the celebrities. They might have. I don't know. That's why they get paid the big bucks. But yeah, they couldn't have planned for the success they had, especially knowing that I don't remember the first one specifically. But it was just weird. It's a weird commercial and it was fast moving. But I definitely don't think they could have planned to use this actor and the theme and the feel of the commercial to this day and to still be successful.
Right. I think with all of these that we've talked about so far, the tweet is a little different because that was more in real time. But these last two advertisements with the Coke and the Old Spice, they were not afraid to take a risk to do something different and not afraid to try and do something that will make them stand out because Degree off the top of my head or Gillette even, they are very uniform in what they do. I think they mainly focus on things that are more professional, I would say. Like I know that they have a lot of professional athletes that they try to get to advertise their products. So with the Old Spice, who else is doing that sort of advertisement? And whether it was a hit or a flop, they were going to keep going until they found one that was a hit. And it's just going to be this.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's a great transition into our last example. Dollar Shave Club. I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people know Dollar Shave Club, and I think it's important to note like their culture and who they are. It's not a normal shaving and razor blade company, and they're built on something completely different and a completely new age. So they can have wiggle room to play with who they are. They're not really beholden to, well, I don't know now, but they weren't beholden to a lot of stakeholders. They had freedom to kind of be who they wanted to be and be who they wanted to, what they wanted people to see them as. But the campaign, I can't say the actual word. Well, they didn't call it this actual word, but they ran an ad, and it says, "Our blades are effing great." It didn't actually say the word, but it had little asterisks for the effing part. The ad featured CEO Michael Dubin and went viral in 2012, so another early 2012, and helped Dollar Shave Club acquire 12,000 customers in the first 48 hours. The success of the ad was partly due to luck, as it was shared by influential bloggers and websites and caught the attention of investors. So it's kind of like the same thing with Old Spices. It was just the right moment for it. But this is another one that could be seen as just, lucky that people saw it. But they had built.
Isn't Dollar Shave Club like they deliver to you if you want to
Mm-hmm.
for $1? Okay.
Yeah, that was their whole thing at the beginning, was delivering. Because this was like, I don't remember. Obviously, I don't remember a whole lot because I was young. This was before like delivery of things that wasn't like pizza.
Yeah.
This was like before the boxes, before Bark boxes, before all these advertisements on it. Yeah, this was early stage to get razors. It was just like a razor blades, I believe, and then the razor itself delivered to you. Subscription services is what I'm looking for, the word. This is before like the big subscription services. But the ad, it showed who they were as a company. So I think that stuff has been planned out. To have the CEO in it was very interesting too, because they could have went the route that Old Spice went with an actor, but I think maybe they didn't have money to pay anybody, but having the CEO, I think they wanted to have the CEO because it's kind of their culture, and I don't remember a whole lot about Dollar Shave Club's growth, but having their CEO who embodies the culture is important. But yeah, you can't you don't know how your ad's going to do until it goes out, but they probably tested it. They probably prepared for it. And obviously this is early stage websites too. And I'm sure they had optimized their website and made sure that it was not going to crash in this. 12,000 customers in 48 hours. I'm not the website guy. You and Sam are, but I think in 2012, 12,000 purchases, not people coming to the website, but 12,000 purchases in 48 hours could run the risk of crashing a website in those days.
Yeah. If your conversion rate is like 1%, then it's a lot.
Yeah. So, they planned for that. So, and it goes back to how bloggers, the biggest takeaway for me is that there's a lot of luck around social media and culture. And I don't like trends, but what culture is talking about at the moment will change maybe day to day or month to month or year to year. But it's the brands and companies and individuals who know what's going on in culture, who can prepare, because it's all cyclical too. It's like, we'll be talking about one thing, and then 4 years down the line, we'll be talking about it again. Might be a different person, might be a different shoe product, but it's the same, the core of it's the same.
Right.
And I guess that's called a trend, but they all come back. So really preparing and learning from the previous trends and about history, preparing for those moments, especially with like, you can't predict influencers now. And with the rise of TikTok, you can't predict what's going to happen. A business could post 100 TikToks and get 450 views, and then post one stupid TikTok about, rhinoceri, and it blow up and go 200 million views. And it's not, that's a million views. But this is what I want to talk about. We have a team member, Mackenzie, Drew's cousin, and I think this is really cool because she brought it up before she went on maternity leave. So she started posting TikToks. I don't know if she really was posting them before. You probably know more, Drew, but she had a TikTok. She was posting TikToks. I don't know how many videos she had before she went viral, but she posted a video. It got, how many views did it get?
Yeah, like 10 million, I think.
So video got 10 million. But the interesting thing she said is that all her other videos that were posted previously started going up. So they were getting into 20,000, like videos that had 250 views were getting into 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. So yes, the moment of the video that she posted that got 10 million views, it could have been lucky. Might have been great content. That was one thing. But the success for her previous videos, that's not luck. I mean, she had this back catalog of videos. So from a business perspective, imagine let's go for a baseball. Like say we're like baseball YouTube coaches. Mm-hmm. So we post 40 videos, 20 about hitting, 20 about pitching, and they're all like, lesson 1. This is a baseball. This is what it does. And then, you go through 40 videos. And then, our 41st video blows up on YouTube. Let's say it goes 400,000 views. And all the other videos had like 2,000, 3,000. Those videos are going to rise. And it's lucky for us because we have this back catalog of videos and shows our whole history of know what we're talking about. So all these, all the new viewers of the 400,000 who are looking for more baseball videos, especially if they're looking for instructional videos, they can go look at all these other videos that we built up. Mm-hmm. And if your business model is totally built on ad revenue from YouTube, that's awesome because you're getting paid. Right. That's the good thing about evergreen content. So you're always going to get paid. But from a business perspective, the 40 videos show what you're talking about, or that you're putting in effort to know what you're talking about. But also, if you have 40 videos, more people are going to spend more time engaging with what you want them to engage with and about your brand and about what you're standing for. So like a business perspective, like a business example, I mean, anything that goes viral, really, it just puts eyes on, I can't think of one that's off the top of my head. Do you have any examples of a business getting?
For me, it is another podcast like Bussin' with the Boys. Like when they have one person on there that I am interested in hearing speak, and then I kind of see the relationship that the two hosts have and the banter that they have, and I actually think that they're funny. That's going to make me want to keep going to their page to see other podcasts, even with people that I don't necessarily care for, but just to know that they get along so well and I appreciate their type of humor, that makes me want to keep going back to their page. That's kind of the best example I would have.
Yeah, putting in the work is the most. It's where the luck is generated from. I'm going to look up one more thing because it's a Han Solo quote. I should have had this pull up.
We may change the name of this to Seabait's Nerd Out.
Yeah. Oh, what did Han Solo say about? What did Han say? He said, "In my experience, there's no such thing as luck." No. Geekwit, there's no deed. There is indeed randomness in the world, both good and bad. Events will happen without notice, and all of a sudden, it is what we do with these moments that will determine our luck, though. Ooh, Obi-Wan. That is very true.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, I think that epitomizes what Oreo did. I really do, because that moment happened, and they took they took the moment, and they took the shot, and it paid off. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see there's going to be in that example. I don't think there's going to be a huge downside if it doesn't fail. It's not political. It's not controversial. It's funny. It's comedic, but humor. You can always hide behind humor. All right, Drew. Is there anything else you'd like to say about luck in marketing, or luck in general?
Nothing too drawn out, just that the overview of this podcast would be the harder you work, the luckier you get. I think that's a good quote. And the more work that you put in and the more that you try to be different and separate yourself from your competitors, I think the better it's going to be for you. Because, I mean, Dollar Shave Club's entire company is essentially built off of being different from other big brands, I think. I mean, I don't know about you. We both have beards, so I shave quite a bit. I know you've got to shave also. And having to go to the store and get razor blades is kind of a pain because they have them locked up now. And you have to actually ask for an attendant. And you've got to sit there and wait for them to get there. And then you got to have them open it and then they just hand it to you.
Not in Kingsport, brother.
I bet you do. Try Walgreens.
Actually, the last time, you might be right, because the last time I don't remember the last time I bought them in store.
Unrelated to that, I've been using like a straight razor, and the blades last for like 2 years, so I don't really.
A straight razor?
Or
like a safety? Yeah. That's what I use as well. Because I never shave my full face, really.
Yeah.
I
just trim and...
Yeah. That's what I do. And I don't want to pay $25 for a pack of razors.
Yeah, and for some reason I feel like it gives me a closer shave just with one blade. So I like that.
And I feel like I'm an old man in the 30s. It's like, you see?
I feel like a G. Like I'm trying to not get arrested for prohibition. I
would have been in trouble if that would have happened. But yes, I don't think there's much. I think the Gary Player quote about preparation and luck is perfect. Work hard, lucky things will happen to you. If you don't work hard, you'll the people who don't work hard are the ones who are always saying that somebody else is lucky.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed this entertaining episode. There will be some moments cut out because personally, I've said some things that can't be said in public. But make sure you check us out on social media and our website at The Social Bullpen and then thesocialbullpen.com. This has been episode number 7 of the Marketing Rundown podcast, and we look forward to seeing you in the new episode. Thank you for listening to the Marketing Rundown podcast. For more information about The Social Bullpen, head over to thesocialbullpen.com or follow us on social media at The Social Bullpen. We hope to see you in the next episode.